Hello and welcome to this episode of Stories That Shape Us. My name is Joanna Daniel. We are continuing the rejection series, and today I'm talking about 3 healthy ways to manage rejection. So, have you been listening to the series? We talked about what rejection feels like. We talked about what some of the things we do when we feel rejected. Why does it hurt so much? And so today I'm talking about how to overcome rejection, because what we have to accept is that it's a part of life. Things happen. We're not for everybody, and everybody's not for us. And sometimes when we experience rejection early in life, sometimes it can be hard. It can be more challenging to deal with when we experience it again in adult life. So how do we overcome? So there are 3 things that are crucial. And of course, there are many things that we can do to overcome rejection. And I want you to think of them put them on the under the umbrella. Think of those things too that you do. What do you do when you experience rejection? Do you allow yourself to feel it? Do you allow yourself to, what do you do? Do you distract yourself? Do you find something else to do? Do you find another group of people to hang out with? What is it that you do? I always say it's important that we feel what we feel. We sit in the feeling. And people that are in my groups, they'll say, this happened, John, and I know what you always say, that I must sit in the feeling. And it's not always comfortable to sit in the feeling, but it's the way through it, right? If we don't allow ourselves to feel it, we can't heal from it. And we want to be able to heal from it. So we want to be familiar with the feeling. We want to know what it feels like so that we can overcome, right? So we can develop ways of coping with it that are healthy, that will serve us, and that will look after us. So how do we sit in this discomfort of rejection? What can we do? So number one, I want you to, well, this is a bonus one. And I mentioned this in yesterday's podcast when I said, tell yourself the truth. So that's a really important part of sitting in the feeling and discomfort of the feeling. Tell yourself the truth. Why do I feel rejected? Who are these people? Why are they so important to me? And I mean, it of course, it depends on the kind of rejection, right? Tell yourself the truth about everything. Absolutely. So you might go for a job interview. You might go for a job interview and you don't get the job. You feel rejected. You might be a part of a scheme to get an apprenticeship and you don't, and other people did. That feeling will come. You might put a proposal in at work and it wasn't accepted. You might be pitching a company for some work and they ghost you. They never responded to you. Or you get the conversation, you might get the meeting and they say no. It could be a range of things that we get rejected by. It's not just socially. I know that it happens in work settings as well. And so telling yourself the truth is really important. Because you didn't get the job doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It might just mean that they chose somebody else to work in that company, in that role. It doesn't mean that things are over for you, your career's not going well, and all the things that you tell yourself that makes it makes the rejection harder to deal with. When you tell yourself things like it's because of me, it's my CV is not good enough, my whatever it is that you tell yourself, it's really important to tell yourself the truth, right? To be able to pull yourself around. If you really desperately need a job, you go for the interview but they didn't hire you. That's okay. There's another job. Look at your CV. There are other things that you can do. Of course, you might need somebody to walk this process with you. You might not be able to do it on your own. But the brain likes us to take us to negative places. So try and find somebody who can talk you down, who can help you to understand and to just see what's good about you, and not be sinking in the place of I'm desperate for a job and I didn't get it and therefore I am whatever it is that you say you are. So really important to tell yourself the truth. Another thing to do is acceptance. Now it's really difficult to accept discomfort, but it's going to be really important that you do accept that this company didn't hire me. I hear people say, I believe God wants me to work in this place, and I'm gonna keep going. But there's so many other places that he might want you to work. Try some of those places, right? Because sometimes we're knocking on doors that are closed that won't open. And then we realize that when we knock on other doors, they open quite easily for us. So try and, widen the scope, widen your options, accept that this one didn't work. These people aren't for me. This proposal wasn't accepted, but there are other proposals that could be accepted if I keep going. And again, you might need support to keep going, but get the support that you need to keep going. And time. Give yourself time to deal with the impact of the rejection. And this is not saying time heal all wounds, because time on its own won't heal. Time plus good learning, good healthy strategies, processing the feelings, understanding it, accepting it, reframing your thoughts around it, all of those things. But give yourself time to process, time to heal, time alone with yourself, time to understand what is about this proposal that didn't work. What is it? What can I change? What is it about this group that, why am I so fascinated and want to spend time over here when there are people here that might want to spend time with me? Give yourself time to understand. Give yourself time to learn and understand yourself and grow in your self-awareness, so that you can develop the ability to manage rejection in the future. Because if you're going to grow, embrace rejection, because they're proposals that won't be accepted, but they're proposals that will be accepted. And if you give up when one isn't accepted, then you're going to miss out on all the other opportunities that are in through the other doors, right? So don't allow it to sink you to such a place that you sit in the hallway and don't knock on any other door. There is a door that will open for you. I promise you. Don't stop knocking. There is a door that is yours that will open. There are people that are yours that will connect with you. There's spaces where you're going to be safe emotionally in. Don't give up. So the last one I'd like to talk about is care for self. Really important that you, as you're overcoming rejection and you're sitting in feelings and you're understanding and you're caring for yourself. Gentleness, care for yourself, be compassionate with yourself, love on yourself, and give yourself those things that you know you need when you're sad. Rejection can influence feelings of sadness and sometimes frustration and low moods. What do you need when you're sad? Really get to know and grow in your self-awareness in that regard as well, to understand what you need and give yourself those things that you need, so that you can move through the place of those feelings that might overwhelm you and might be crushing your spirit. Because we don't want you to sit with your spirit being bruised and crushed. We want you to know what to do to minister to yourself, to look after you, so that you can keep going. And we don't want you to keep going because you keep going and you're courageous and you're pushing through. We want you to build resilience in the right way, where you are recognizing that something is wrong and that you're giving yourself what you need to look after yourself. So lots and lots of compassion. So find out for you, what does compassion mean to you? And what does it feel like to you? When somebody's compassionate to you, how do you know? And so what will you know to give yourself when you need to apply compassion to yourself? What will that look like for you, right? And when you find out what that looks like, give yourself a lot of it as you're looking after yourself. And those are some of the things that you can use to overcome rejection and to grow in resilience. Thank you for joining me in this episode of Stories That Shape Us. I hope you'll join me on the next story.